Before there were houses, hospitals, schools, or written words, a child was born into the wild. No soft bed waited for them. No locked door protected them from the night. No medicine stood ready if fever came. There was only firelight trembling against stone, the cold breath of the forest outside, and the distant sound of animals moving in the darkness. Imagine a mother sitting near the fire, holding her newborn close to her chest. Around her, the small group stays alert. Someone feeds the flame. Someone listens beyond the cave mouth. Someone watches the shadows. In that world, a baby's cry was not just a sound of hunger or fear. It was a signal to the entire group that life itself had arrived, fragile and unfinished, asking to be protected. To us, ancient childhood can seem almost impossible. How could a baby survive in a world without modern comfort? How could parents raise children when food was uncertain, weather could turn deadly, and predators shared the same landscape? The answer is more surprising and more human than many people imagine. Ancient children were not raised by one person alone. They were raised by closeness, by constant attention, and by the living circle of a tribe. The first truth is simple. A prehistoric baby was extremely vulnerable. Unlike many animals, human infants cannot walk soon after birth. They cannot cling well, run away, find food, or protect themselves. Their survival depended completely on adults. In the wild, this weakness could have been fatal. But human beings turned weakness into connection. A newborn was kept close to the body, carried against warm skin, wrapped in animal hide or simple plant fibers, and held near the fire when the air became cold. The mother's body was the first cradle, the first shelter, the first source of food and safety. Every heartbeat, every breath, every touch helped the child stay alive. But the wild was never silent. Hunger waited. Storms came without warning. A hunting group might return with meat or with nothing. A careless step could injure a child. A strange sound beyond the trees could mean danger. In this world, childhood began not in comfort, but inside a circle of protection. And that circle was humanity's first great invention. For ancient humans, survival began with closeness. A baby was not placed far away in a separate room. There was no quiet nursery, no cradle behind a closed door, no schedule that told the mother when the child should be fed. In the wild, distance was danger. A child who was too far from adult arms could become cold, hungry, frightened, or exposed. So ancient parents did what human bodies were designed to do. They carried their children close. The mother might hold the baby against her chest while resting near the fire. She might tie the child to her body while moving through grassland, forest, or rocky paths. When the group traveled, the baby could sleep against her back, feeling every step, every breath, every movement. This contact was not only emotional, it was practical. It kept the child warm. It helped calm crying. It made feeding easier. It allowed the mother to sense when something was wrong. Breastfeeding was not a strict routine. It was likely frequent, responsive, and shaped by need. When the baby was hungry, the mother fed them. When the baby cried, someone responded. This constant care may seem exhausting to modern eyes, but in the ancient world, it was one of the strongest tools for survival. Milk gave food, hydration, comfort, and protection, in a world where clean water and safe meals were never guaranteed. As the child grew, food changed slowly. A baby who once lived only on milk would begin to taste the world in tiny portions. Soft fruit, cooked roots, small pieces of fish or meat, crushed seeds. Food softened by adult hands, prepared with patience, shared from the group's uncertain supply. Every bite carried effort. Every meal depended on the land, the season, the skill of the adults, and sometimes simple luck. Yet the most powerful part of this system was not only the mother's care, it was the fact that she was rarely alone. A grandmother might hold the child while the mother rested. An older sibling might entertain the baby near the fire. Another woman might watch over several children while others gathered food. A father might bring back meat, carry a child during movement, or stand guard near the camp. In the wild, parenting was not a private task. It was a shared responsibility, and this may be one of the deepest reasons humans survived. A child raised by many hands had more chances to live, learn, and grow. The greatest secret of ancient parenting may have been the tribe. When we imagine the distant past, we often picture a single mother struggling alone with her child against the wild. But human survival was rarely built on isolation. It was built on cooperation. In a small hunter-gatherer group, every child belonged first to their parents. But in a deeper sense, that child also belonged to the future of the whole community. A baby was not only a mouth to feed. A baby was a promise. One day, that child might become a gatherer, a tracker, a toolmaker, a storyteller, a healer, a hunter, a parent. Protecting a child meant protecting the memory, knowledge, and strength of the group itself. This is why ancient children likely grew up surrounded by many caregivers. The mother remained central, but she was not the only source of safety. Grandmothers, older sisters, brothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, and trusted members of the group could all take part in childcare. A child might fall asleep in one person's arms, wake in another's, and spend the day moving through a web of familiar faces. This shared care gave the mother something priceless: time. Time to eat, time to recover, time to gather food, time to care for another child, time to walk, work, and survive. In a world where one tired adult could not do everything, the group became the support system. Around the campfire, this system became visible. One adult repaired tools while watching children nearby. Another prepared food. An older child played with a toddler. A grandmother told stories not only to entertain, but to pass on warnings, memories, and rules of survival. The camp was not just a place to sleep. It was the first classroom, the first shelter, and the first community. This also shaped the child's mind. From the beginning, ancient children learned that they were connected to many people. They learned faces, voices, gestures, moods, and roles. They learned who comforted them, who warned them, who fed them, who laughed with them, and who corrected them. Long before written laws, human children were being shaped by belonging. In the wild, the tribe was not just protection from danger. It was the child's first map of the world. And as that child grew stronger, the map expanded beyond the firelight. The forest, the river, the stones, the tracks, and the open sky became the next teachers. As ancient children grew, the wild became their classroom. There were no school walls, no books, no written lessons, and no teachers standing before a board. But learning was everywhere. It was in the crackle of fire, in the shape of a footprint, in the smell of rain, in the sound of birds suddenly going silent. For a child in the ancient world, knowledge was not something separate from life. Knowledge was survival. At first, children learned by watching. They watched adults sharpen stone, scrape hides, break bones for marrow, gather roots, carry water, build shelter, and prepare food. They watched which berries were safe, which plants were avoided, which paths led to water, and which sounds meant danger. No one needed to explain everything in long speeches. The lesson was repeated daily by life itself. Then came imitation. A small child might pick up a stick and pretend it was a spear. Another might copy the way adults dug into the earth for roots. A group of children might play at hunting, hiding, chasing, or building a tiny shelter from branches. To modern eyes, this looks like simple play. But in the ancient world, play was practice. The body learned balance, aim, patience, silence, courage, and cooperation before the child fully understood why those skills mattered. Slowly, children began to help for real. They could collect small pieces of wood, carry light objects, watch younger children, gather easy foods, or follow older children near the camp. They learned not by being pushed into danger too soon, but by entering the adult world step by step. Every task taught them something. Every mistake had meaning. Every success made them more useful to the group. This kind of childhood was dangerous, but it was not empty of tenderness. There may have been laughter around the fire, games in the dust, stories under the stars, and small moments of wonder when a child first learned to read the land like a living book. Ancient parents did not raise children by protecting them from nature forever. They raised them by keeping them close at first, then slowly teaching them how to belong to the world around them. And perhaps that is the most powerful truth. Long before modern homes, classrooms, and cradles, humanity discovered that a child survives best when held by many hands, fed with patience, protected by community, and taught through life itself. Ancient children were not merely raised in the wild. They were raised by the wild, by the tribe, and by the oldest human instinct of all, to protect the next generation.